Hi, all. It's Rachel with the Herbalist Garden. We are going to talk about plantain today. So, it's another week. Today, for me, is Tuesday. Usually, the days that I record this. You'll be seeing this on Thursday. Hopefully, the day it comes out. But, you know, whenever you get a chance, I appreciate you being here. And I've been trying to figure out ahead of time what we're going to talk about for the next week. So, seriously, if you have suggestions, I'm game to hear them. Please, please, please. If you have an herb that you want to learn about, or even like just something natural, like per se, like castor oil. I mean, yes, it's kind of an herb, but it's an oil. It's from a bean. It's the castor bean, and it has to be processed in order to be able to be used. Unlike most herbs, I mean, they do to a point, but you can have them as a tea. You put them in your food. Castor oil, not really so much for that. So, yeah, just give me some suggestions. Because I've been tossing around the thought of doing colloidal silver, gold, and platinum as a topic. There's a lot out there that we can use that are more natural and medicinal that have nothing to do with the petroleum pharmaceuticals. And that's the goal. Plantain. That's what we're talking about today. Plantains. This is not the fruit. This is not a banana type plant. These are the weeds in our yard that people just walk on. They mow over and they never even think twice about it. And it is like in the top 5 for me because I use it often. Not necessarily because I like the plant as much as I like its benefits. We'll get there. So plantains are rich in vitamins, fiber, and potassium, which can support digestive health, boost the immune system, and help regulate blood pressure. They are also a good source of antioxidants, which may protect against oxidative stress and chronic diseases. Remember, I am gleaning all of my information from knowledge and the internet, and I have it on the screen over here, so I'll be reading from there. I will put in the description all the websites that I gleaned some information from. I try to put this mostly in my words, but some of the things will come directly off of the websites. And as long as I'm referencing them, it's fine. I'm not taking them out of context, basically. So, plantain is a common garden weed with edible leaves and seeds. So I know, like my mom and a couple other people I know still particularly take psyllium. Well, guess where it comes from? Plantain. It's the seeds. That little stalk that comes up at the top, that is where psyllium comes from. So you could get it in your own yard and not have to pay for it. Look at that. Nature's free. And that's why the pharmaceutical companies don't want you to have it or know the benefits of it. Because they can't regulate it. Because it's from nature and you can't monetize that. I mean, to a point, monetize your processing. Anyways, it also provides enhanced wound healing and everything that plant-wise reduces inflammation. We're aware of that. So they have a wide range of antimicrobial properties as well as anti-inflammatory and analgesic properties. They can soothe insect bites and superficial wounds prevent infections, and accelerate healing. The herb's antimicrobial action is mainly due to its biochemical aucubin. I think that's what it says. Another substance, allantoin, allantoin, I don't know. There helps with skin tissue regeneration. I probably should look that up eventually, how to pronounce that. Plantains also have an astringent property that cleanses the body. They help dry up excess secretions in the respiratory tract and the digestive system, thus being useful in treating colds and diarrhea. The astringency is moderated by the demulcent effects of the mucilage in the herb. So this herbal remedy is much gentler than common used astringents. The edible leaves of broadleaf plantain are rich in calcium and other minerals and vitamins, including vitamin K. The vitamins help stop bleeding. This vitamin helps stem bleeding from, I don't think that's the word it's supposed to be. I don't know what I was putting in there. It helps stop bleeding from cuts and wounds. Tender leaves can be eaten fresh in salads, or older leaves can be cooked. Must be cooked because they're a little more tough and they are not as fresh. They've been matured. So it has a long medicinal history. The Saxons included it in their list of 9 sacred herbs from the 10th century. There are over 200 species of plantain. Some are common ones. The Plantago major is known as the common plantain. Broadleaf plantain, devil's shoestring, whiteman's foot, Plantago lanceolata L, which is also known as narrowleaf plantain. There's English plantain, buckhorn, ribwort, Plantago media L, which is also known as hoary plantain. Plantain, yeah, I get 12 weeks old sometimes. It's okay. So the broadleaf plantain is the Plantago major. It is native to Europe and certain parts of Asia. This perennial plant produces greenish flowers and has large oval-shaped leaves that can be eaten raw or cooked. As I said, it is not related to the banana. It's just not. It's not the same plant at all. That's tropical. This is everywhere. So broadleaf is the one that you're going to find most of the time. But actually, I find an equal amount of narrowleaf and broadleaf in my yard. It's just like one will be in front of me, walk 5 steps, the other's ahead. And they have all the same medicinal properties to them. There's also black seed plantain, blonde plantain, bract plantain, Chinese plantain, woolly plantain. There's a lot. There's a lot of them. And those are pretty much what I wrote down. So if you know of any more, list them down below because that'll be cool. If you got some pictures, if you can add them in, I'd like to see them too. I don't remember if we can do that in the comments or not. Well, let's move on to the benefits. So for some reason it stopped recording. I'll do my best here. Just working with a program that I got for free. Eventually, maybe if I can monetize this, I will upgrade to something subscription based where I can have. Anyway, cold and cough benefits. Plantain has been traditionally used to treat cough and cold for centuries. Experimental research also confirms that it has immunostimulatory, spasmolytic, and anti-inflammatory actions that can be beneficial when dealing with infection in the upper respiratory system. Plantain also exhibits antiviral properties against some viruses that cause the common cold. It's also a demulcent, relieving irritation in the mucous membranes all through there. And so the next time you have a nasty cold or cough, turn to this herb for relief. You can take it as a tincture under the tongue or drink freshly brewed warm tea with honey for colds, flus, and respiratory infections. So we know that every plant, anything that doesn't require, I don't know how to explain it, every plant reduces inflammation. There's like maybe 2 or 3 that don't. Plants. The leaves contain several anti-inflammatory compounds, including flavonoids, terpenoids, glycosides, and tannins. There's animal studies that observed similar findings, reporting that the plantain weed extract significantly decreased inflammation and reduced liver enzymes to protect against liver damage. You can drink 1 to 2 glasses of plantain tea daily to improve liver and kidney function. Like right now, this is the season where I don't particularly want to have a hot beverage. So I would opt for like an iced tea. And you can like grab your mason jar and steep your tea just for a day's worth. Or you can make a whole pitcher full and hope nobody else drinks your tea, because that's what would happen in my house. It's something that is beneficial, and just remember, moderation. I will pound this into everybody. Moderation. Don't sit there and like drink it all day. You drink 1 to 2 glasses to improve liver and kidney function. It's not you drink it all day. It is a medicinal thing. We don't need to have it as a refreshing cool beverage like we would a lemonade or a sweet tea or even unsweetened tea, whatever. It's just different when you're trying to use it, because you don't want your body to acclimate to it. Like some people become immune to like antibiotics, and that because we've just been they have been feeding their bodies with antibiotic after antibiotic for years, and it's obviously not getting rid of the issue. Whole other situation. And so you become immune to it. Your body can become immune to the herbs if you have it too often. I watched a whole video from Seja Popham from the School of Evolutionary Herbalism today. He actually suggests a 6-week cleanse of all the herbs you're taking. Take 6 weeks off of taking your herbs. It's not necessary to take them every day for the rest of your life, all day. Your body needs to get used to whatever you healed. Sit there and see how your body's going to work and how it's going to function based on the new healing. And then maybe after 6 weeks, start introducing one at a time if you find you have a need. But overall, this is not something to take every single day. It's just not. So because of its inflammation modulating properties, it works well to soothe respiratory allergies and asthma. It contains compounds that help inhibit mast cell degranulation and histamine release, which drives classic allergy symptoms of redness and irritation, itching. This is another way to describe plantain's ability to resolve heat and calm irritated tissues. Plantain is ideal for an allergic presentation that involves red, dry, itchy eyes, or a dry throat with an irritated cough. It can also be used for other respiratory tract infections or irritations, such as a dry cough or mucosal irritation from inhaling smoke or dust. So in that, we move from the head down to the bronchioles, so it will help with bronchitis. It's pretty much a natural remedy for it. It basically clears up the bronchi that causes irritation and inflammation. It's that's characterized by coughing and production of mucus. Plantain contains complex polysaccharides that can soothe irritation and help with coughs. Studies have found it to be useful for people with chronic bronchitis. However, remember that demulcents can stimulate mucus production. Therefore, you probably only want to use it really for a dry cough, but it will help, and then you'll have to stop and then heal that. In other words, you can become too moist, too mucusy, that you kind of stop that and then go to something else that helps clear out that mucus as well. There's a balance. Oftentimes there's protocols for them. Figure out what works for your body. If you have a major bronchitis issue, take the plantain and then take it until you feel like everything's cleared up except for maybe the mucus, because it's mucus producing. And then you would go to something else that clears out that mucus, kind of like maybe a mullein. It's a little bit of more of a drying effect, where plantain has a moistening effect. So we want to go with that constitution versus temperament. Well, kind of same thing. You got to figure out what works best for your body. And that's really the bottom line. Because there's so many things that work for this. But is plantain it for you? Is mullein it for you? Is dandelion root it for you? Is calendula? There's bunches of others. I figure out which one hits your body constitution, your body type correctly. It helps with skin irritations. Plantain leaves have been used over the ages to deal with skin inflammation and irritation. Plantain contains a compound known as that one again that I have a hard time pronouncing, allantoin, that promotes healthy tissue growth and has soothing, anti-irritating, and healing properties. I'm going to look this up. I'll be back. It's a lanolin. Okay, I was really close. I think I might have even said it once. Lanolin. Okay, here we go. A lanolin. Okay. So, here we go. There I am. It is an ingredient in many commercial cosmetic products, such as sunscreens, anti-acne ointments, clarifying lotions, oral hygiene, pharmaceutical products. So, whether you're dealing with eczema, acne, sunburn, this herb can help. You can apply the crushed leaf, or I like to call it a poultice. You can add that directly to your irritated skin. I was outside at a cookout one time in my yard, 4th of July probably, because that's when we usually have the biggest one. And bee just randomly came up and stung me. It wasn't pleasant. It doesn't, I'm not allergic to them. It doesn't really hurt that bad. I feel bad that the bee even bothered with me, because that's dead. But I just grabbed piece of plantain out of my yard, just ripped off the leaf, chewed it up a little bit, and then placed it right onto the bee sting. And like literally the pain went away and there was no swelling. Because that still, gets a little bit of irritation even though it doesn't really hurt. More itches. But anyways, it got rid of all of that. I was able to just rub it on there for a little while and it just got better. I didn't have a problem with it ever again. I wish I had known that when my littles were little, and they both got stung on the same day. Actually, wow, that was 4th of July too. That was probably the 10 years previous, 10 to 13 years previously. They were outside playing in the backyard before we went to the Fourth Fest, and they both got stung, one on the ear and one on the foot. Found out my youngest at the time was allergic to bees. So big. It was not pretty. So she's not anaphylactic, but it's definitely something. Anyway, onward. Skin irritation help. It helps with boils and acne, so you can touch with a drop of a tincture or apply a salve. You can use it for dandruff and other scalp problems. Apply a plantain tea or oil infusion to the scalp and wash off after an hour. It helps with poison ivy, sumac, and oak. So yes, jewelweed is the go-to for poison ivy and all them. But if you don't have that, guess what? Plantain will work too. You apply poultice immediately and wash the area with plantain tea. Then apply plantain sludge, which is like you just masticate it and then you put it on there. That's my idea of a poultice. They say a poultice is more on the dry side. Potato. But basically, you apply it until the stinging pain is gone. And first, you can use it on a sunburn. Again, poultice, plantain sludge. Put it on there liberally. Wash the area with a plantain tea. And then apply a salve. You can use it in multiple ways to achieve the best results for whatever you're using it for. So it helps with wounds. I mean, kind of like if it's going to help with skin irritations, we know it's going to help with wounds. But more particularly and traditionally, they're mixed with antibacterial honey and applied to the wound to promote healing. You can also apply fresh leaves directly to minor injuries. Therefore, cuts, open sores. It'll help them stop bleeding as well. It's a styptic. Wash with plantain tea or diluted tincture, and like a teaspoon to a glass of water, to prevent infections and promote healing. Some research notes that plantain weed may support wound healing by reducing inflammation, blocking microbial growth, and relieving pain. Another animal study topically applied aloe vera in plantain weed, and it improved wound healing and enhanced tissue repair. Another study used plantain weed extract straight to the wounds, and it increased the healing rate compared to, say, a control group that they did use it. So again, a burn, you would apply the poultice immediately and then a bandage. You can put a leaf underneath the bandage too. Just keep it adhered. It'll help with ulcers. Animal study that looked at traditional medicinal plants used in Turkey found that plantain does indeed have anti-ulcerogenic properties. The anti-inflammatory effects of plantain are believed to make it worthwhile for people with ulcers. Swish 2 to 3 tablespoons of plantain tea in your mouth 3 to 4 times a day for mouth ulcers. You can use 1 tablespoon of tincture diluted into a cup as well for like a mouth ulcer. It's good for throat pain or infection. You can gargle it, the tea, or a diluted tincture. 5 to 10 drops of the tincture under the tongue and then ingest it slowly. A study of 40 people found that applying a gel containing aloe vera and plantain weed helped heal their foot ulcers. So it'll help with constipation, part of the digestive health. So most of the time people do like 10 milligrams of the black psyllium seeds in like 100 milliliters of water. You have to drink a lot of water if you're going to use the psyllium. Because without sufficient water, it'll get stuck. And choke you, swell up everything, block your throat, because it's kind of like a chia. And it's the seeds, as they hit, because they're mucilaginous and all that, when they hit water, they expand. This is going to help you feel full. This is going to soak up any excess fluid in your body. It's going to ultimately, if used too often, dry out your body. So if you are on the very wet, moisture constitution, this will be useful for you. If you're on the dry constitution, find something else. You could take a teaspoon of each dried plantain leaf and lemon balm, combine the two herbs in a tea ball or a cup, and apply boiling water, let it steep for 5 minutes, and then drink the tea. This will help soothe and ease an upset stomach. So lemon balm can also calm the digestive tract. I believe that we referred to that when we went over lemon balm before. Some animal studies suggest that plantain weed's anti-inflammatory properties may aid digestive issues like inflammatory bowel disease, and I know people with that, and I can't get them to take any more remedies, but whatever. That causes stomach pain, bloating, and diarrhea. I wouldn't like it. I'm glad I don't have it. So you can, again, take the tincture under the tongue or drink plantain tea to relieve gastrointestinal inflammation. So high cholesterol is another benefit. Well, treating the high cholesterol. Psyllium appears to help lower cholesterol levels. One study found that when people with high cholesterol used 5.1 grams of psyllium twice daily for 24 to 26 weeks, their cholesterol levels were 4.7%, and LDL cholesterol levels were 6. Their total cholesterol were 4.7%. LDL cholesterol levels were 6%, all of that lower than those of the control group. It's not something that you would take long term. Notice it's at 24 to 26 weeks. That is really the longest that I'd recommend anyone to take things. I usually recommend more of a 12-week, as long as everything's fixed, of course. It'll help with diabetes because it'll help control your blood sugar. Water-soluble dietary fibers always are going to lower your blood sugar after meals by slowing down carbohydrate absorption. One study observed that men with type 2 diabetes took 5.1 grams of psyllium twice daily for 8 weeks and improved their blood sugar levels. Conversely, certain commercial black psyllium products sometimes contain added sugars, and that undermines their ability to help with blood sugar issues. So you've got to watch. That's why I like harvesting things naturally or buying it as a whole plant. Because if you're buying it from the store, more than likely they're perverting it in some way. Adding sugars? What? Why? I wish they leave our food alone. Quit putting all these additives in there. But those are the big ones that it helps with. It probably helps with more. Those are the ones I personally use it for. I mean, if I have those issues, usually skincare, usually the wound care. So it is thought to be considerably and generally safe. So, but there are potential side effects that, like everything, even water can have a side effect to it, for goodness sakes. And some of ours does because it's contaminated. To minimize potential side effects, start with a low dosage, slowly increase your intake, and only use as somebody suggests or if you have experience and you know how to dose. Make sure, this is a huge one with all plants foraged naturally. No pesticides, no animal feces, no growing near the road. It's just the way it is. We don't mess with that stuff because those are all chemicals, potential of E. coli. There's a lot. You use the fresh leaves usually in food. Make sure you rinse everything properly before ingesting it. Can be eaten raw or cooked. Remember, the young leaves can be used just raw, but the mature leaves need to be cooked because they're just a little tougher, a little bit more grassy flavored. Overall, it's just a nice earthy flavor. You're going to get the best advantage out of it in a salad or sauteing it up in your food with other greens. Nobody gonna know. You can infuse it with an oil of choice, such as coconut, sunflower, olive oil, avocado oil. I do either avocado or olive oil usually when I'm making my oil because I make a plantain oil. Like I told you that last week that I did the calendula oil and then I mix them together with some beeswax and I make my homemade Neosporin antibacterial salve. Stuff's great. This stuff goes in it. So I highly recommend making your own. You can buy it from me, I guess. But literally, it's so easy. Just make it. So dried plantain weed can also be added to natural skincare products, including lip balms, lotions, and ointments. You can add it to dishes such as soups, stir fries, and stews. I would add it to some kale and garlic, and that'd be so good. So they recommend if you have like real live intestinal problems, don't use the black psyllium. Like if you have weakened muscles, bowel blockages, stuff like that, don't use it because it's not going to clear that up. That usually requires a little bit more of maybe marshmallow, maybe slippery elm. So, I mean, come to our Facebook group, The Herbalist Garden, and we'll oftentimes give you some really good suggestions. It can, taking psyllium along with your meals for a long time can adversely affect the absorption of nutrients. So don't overtake this. Moderation. Say it with me. Moderation. So if you're using it in non-commercial preparations, black psyllium can contain toxins that can damage your kidneys. I don't really know much about, per se, the black psyllium, but I don't have that in my yard. I don't have access to it unless I were to go and purchase it. But if I have regular psyllium that isn't black psyllium, and I don't have to worry about the potential side effects, then I'm not going to even bother with it. So don't use if pregnant or lactating. It's just, you can use it topically. And if you have major constipation issues in pregnancy, you can use the psyllium seeds, not black psyllium. But consult your doctor if you want to. I ain't going to tell you how to live your life. Interactions with medications, because it can help. If taken too long or too much, can damage nutrient and not damage. It can hinder nutrient absorption. That means it's also going to hinder your absorption of medications if taken too much. If you take it normally, or if it's only topical, then it's not going to hurt you either way. But just because I have to say it, while plantain has many medicinal benefits, it is essential to consult your doctor before using it, as you are taking medicines for epilepsy, neuropathic pain, heart conditions, depression, bipolar disorder, and diabetes. The constituents of plantain can interfere with the functioning of such drugs. So let me tell you some dosages. We have plantain weed capsules, we have tinctures, we have teas, oils. Those are all something that you can utilize these for. The standard dosage for infusions or teas is about 5 ounces 3 to 4 times daily. A typical dosage in powdered form ranges from 3 to 5 grams per day. That is your dosage. It's not going to be that difficult. Everything else is used topically. That we've covered all the topics that I normally cover. If I'm missing anything, let me know. Because plantain is definitely useful. It's not considered unsafe. But if you're on a load of pharmaceuticals, it's potentially can be unsafe. It is something that I use a lot. Somebody gets in a cut when they're outside, grab the plantain! Grab the plantain! It's just what we've done many, many times because, kids outside, cuts and bruises. That's what happens. Thank you so much for learning with me today about plantain. I really appreciate it. I am going to put all the links that I referenced information from in the description below. If you'd like to join our Facebook group over on, Facebook, if you'd like to join our group over there and continue the conversation, you're welcome to. Please leave comments, like, and subscribe. I'm very thankful that you are here to the end. I will be doing next week on borage. And I'm going to learn a lot about that because I've known about the plant. I don't really know anything about it. I just know it has medicinal qualities. So we're going to both learn together. Again, thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful day.